You may be seated, and we will introduce ourselves.
Good afternoon. I'm Patrick Queenan. I'm an Assistant Attorney General for the Department of Justice in New Hampshire. And I was a participant once, a long time ago.
Not that long. I'm Grace Barnes-Benford. I'm a commercial trial attorney in Orlando, Florida. I've been working with the Florida competition for about 15 years, and this is my second time at Nationals.
My name is Mike Schessler. I'm a defense trial lawyer from Charleston, West Virginia. I've coached several We the People teams, judged them on the state level, and this is my second national competition. So I'm just as nervous as you are.
Here, we're from Reno High School. My name is Marina Lowe. I will be attending Western Washington University.
My name is Mason Najima. I'll be attending University of Nevada, Reno.
My name is Jocelyn Vitus. I will be attending University of California, Berkeley.
Good afternoon, my name is Maddie Eckert and I will be attending the University of Southern California. Our unit coaches are Tomas and Sam Macaluso, and our classroom teacher is Mr. Richard Clark.
Hello. All right. The question today for Unit 6 is question 1. Modern government has greatly extended its range of assuming responsibility for improving social conditions by regulating economic activity and providing a wide range of public services. This great expansion poses a major challenge to the very idea of constitutionalism, devised as commitments to limited government. Do you agree or disagree with this assertion by a British scholar? Why? What evidence can you offer to support your position? How would you explain the concept of constitutionalism? And what can citizens do if and when they believe government is overstepping the bounds of constitutional government?
Frederick Bastiat wrote in the 1853 book, The Law, that the law is justice, simple and clear, precise and bounded. Justice is measurable, immutable, and unchangeable. If you exceed the proper limit, you will then be lost in an uncharted territory, in vagueness and uncertainty, in a forced utopia, or even worse, in a multitude of utopias, each striving to seize the law and impose it upon you. The fear of tyrannical governments has been illustrated throughout history, such as Julius Caesar's Roman dictatorship, and it even can be seen today in places such as Paul Bayou's pseudo-democracy in Cameroon, and Islam Karimov's authoritarian government in Uzbekistan, maintaining the distrust of large government throughout the United States.
However, Martin Watlin's claim that modern government's assumption of responsibility for improving social conditions poses a major challenge to the very idea of constitutionalism is untrue. Although regulating economic activity and providing a wide range of public services do go against the idea of limited government, they do not inherently abridge the principle of constitutionalism.
Constitutionalism is the use of the Constitution and the rule of law to limit and empower government. The United States Constitution serves as our higher law, setting up the structures and obligations that government must adhere to. Economic regulations, such as the Federal Trade Commission Act of 1914, and social reforms, such as the Civil Rights Act of 1964, do increase the power of government. However, they also stem directly from the constitutionally granted power of Congress to regulate commerce in Article 1, Section 8. As Justice Waite wrote in the majority opinion of Illinois v. Munn in 1877, these sorts of regulations and reforms are permissible when such regulations become necessary for the public good.
Although some could view the idea of the minimum wage being raised to $10.10 as an excessive amount of government regulation, the increase would actually benefit the majority of the American people. Because 6 of the 10 fastest growing job markets consist of low-paying jobs, according to the Hill magazine, this measure is essential to ensuring that the federal government is fulfilling its constitutional duty to promote the general welfare.
Constitutionalism is more than just a limited government. It is a government that protects the rights and the liberties of the people while remaining limited by citizens themselves. Although Article 1, Section 9 delineates the powers denied to Congress, the task of checking governmental power when it is overstepping the bounds of constitutional government is the responsibility of the people through litigation, civil disobedience, and political involvement.
2 of the New Deal economic reforms, the Agriculture Adjustment Act and the National Recovery Act, were repealed after being declared unconstitutional by the Supreme Court in United States v. Butler and Schechter Poultry Corp. v. United States in 1936. As the New York Times reported in February 2014, many Americans oppose the Affordable Care Act, such as Stacey Brown, a small business owner in Georgia, are actively participating in civil disobedience. Brown has consciously decided not to purchase healthcare as required by law because the plans are too expensive and do not cover her son's pediatrician.
The Times asserts that eventually, people like Brown will help to bring about a real effort to reform our healthcare system. Citizens also have the ability to run for office in order to enact change within government. For example, Washoe County School District's trustee, Howard Rosenberg, ran for office simply because he was unsatisfied with the job the Board of Trustees was doing, believing that the board was not fulfilling its duty to provide the best education possible for students.
Presidential nominee Mitt Romney stated, "I want to restore to America the economic values of freedom and opportunity and limited government that have made us the powerhouse of the world." While the principles of economic opportunity and freedom are part of what make the United States so great, they also must work hand in hand with an appropriate amount of regulation to ensure that these opportunities are available for all Americans. Thank you.
You mentioned, in terms of limited government expansion, if it's necessary for the public good. In your opinion, are there any current government programs that are not necessary for the public good? You mentioned the NSA, I believe you mentioned the NSA program, and maybe the Affordable Care Act. Are those examples or anything along those lines?
The NSA, although there is some controversy over what they're doing right now, they are helping the public good in that they're watching over us and helping us thrive as a nation.
I would actually say that the food stamps initiative really isn't benefiting our citizens because I think that the TANF program, which is specifically aimed at aiding families with children, is actually more effective because it's encouraging people to actually go out and look for jobs rather than just providing them with food.
I would like to disagree. I feel that every aspect or program in the government is necessary for the public good. For example, a lot of people oppose welfare and but as we can see in Brazil, there is a welfare program called Bolsa Familia and it has decreased poverty in Brazil in the last 10 years, 89%. So welfare is not bad and it promotes the common good.
Do we eliminate poverty by just handing people money and benefits? Is that a basis for eliminating poverty, or is there anything else the government could do to promote the citizens' ability to eliminate poverty on their own?
There's a lot of stigma that we promote poverty by affording benefits, but as I was just talking about with Bolsa Familia, 70% of people who are on that plan in Brazil are working, and that's the same percentage as the people who aren't on that plan that are also working. So just by providing welfare, it doesn't decrease the amount of workers or
Well, and also a YouGov poll actually that just occurred last month found that 44% of Americans believe that people that are in poverty because of a lack of opportunities, whether that's they were born into an impoverished family or they just haven't had the same job opportunities, or perhaps they aren't even paid as well as they should be. And so, and that's opposed to 30% who believe that they are lazy or just trying to live off the system. And so I would definitely say that by promoting these sorts of job-creating activities or even raising working conditions, the minimum wage, that would definitely help raise people out of poverty.
Going off the idea that people are not given the same opportunities, obviously, in the United States, the Affordable Care Act helps us when we look at Medicaid. It actually covers 138% of the people that are at the poverty line right now.
To change gears a little bit, the Supreme Court recently found that limitations on individual campaign contributions is unconstitutional. How do you feel that plays into this discussion about the limited government and response to that?
Well, I would definitely say that it's giving more power to a select group of people. And they are for the most part in the public sector, so the Koch brothers, for example. However, I would definitely say that it is detrimental to our political system as a whole. And it's actually taking away from the democratic process in our country.
Can you expand government's power?
When you say governmental power, do you mean like to regulate it, or?
Actually, we'll shift gears. I think I threw you off there. Well, I was thinking, you mentioned the limitation it has, or lack thereof rather, because now that the people can respond, I just don't know if there's a counter argument to that. But we can.
Yeah, we move on. If we've expanded government, these social programs are deemed necessary by the majority of the public. Does that make it good or bad? Well, does it necessarily make it good or bad if we're moving away from some of the original intentions of the Constitution?
Well, President Roosevelt in his 1932 presidential campaign stated that it's time to recognize the new tenets of the old social contract. And so given that our Constitution is a living and breathing document, it's most definitely necessary to change that as the times change, because there are new issues that come up that the Constitution just couldn't address.
As you see in the Supreme Court case, Collins v. Virginia, Chief Justice Marshall wrote in his majority opinion that the people made the Constitution and the people can unmake it, and it is their creature by will. And so when people buy into this, essentially buy into the social contract, this is that they, through litigation and through civil discourse, that they can talk with their government officials and help change government in the ways that they need it to help them.
With the NSA and the Constitution, privacy is not anywhere in the Constitution. It's implied. So if it's a living and breathing document, we need to add stuff to the Constitution that covers the privacy in technology.
I thought you worked very well as a team. Your prepared materials were very insightful and showed great depth in your preparation. And we threw some tough questions at you, and I think it's tougher with a panel of four. Everybody thinks, oh, someone else will get it, and so it causes that hesitation. That doesn't necessarily mean that you don't know the material, because then when we changed gears, everyone was not only answering and having a great opinion on it, but citing to historical or contemporary information in support of your opinion. So it really did show that you know your material. So, very enjoyable.
It looked like you all had a plan when you came, and you all have worked well together in practicing up through the state levels and here. And I was particularly impressed with how you all chimed in with specific examples, and some of them were extra outside the book, or outside the usual of what we see. The Brazilian program, for example. I thought that was a very good example, and it showed that you've done and gone the extra mile to find things to support your position. Very good job.
I thought both aspects, both the prepared remarks and the answering the question pieces were phenomenal. The prepared remarks, you showed all the preparation that you put into this was demonstrated to us. It was phenomenal. The way you guys kind of had a rhythm and a cadence together. You covered all the material with time to spare, and there was a good balance in terms of your participation, and everyone jumped in. And the questions as well, especially in the beginning of the question period. You guys were answering everything. The limited government question when it came to welfare program, did that go too far? Did it not? We heard great arguments on both sides. You guys did a great job kind of disagreeing with each other respectively and showing the reasonableness there. I threw you guys off, so don't feel bad about that. That's completely on me. But you guys picked up great and answered the question the best that you could, and then moved on to the next one. So that's the type of on your feet adjustments that needed to be made. I thought you guys did a great job. So all the people that are here, this is the most sold out crowd we saw. You guys did a great job for that.